Now, what do three little pigs, a big bad wolf, and a few simple words have in common? Well, they're about to take your Italian to the next level, because in this lesson, we're going to take this beloved story of I Tre Porcellini, the three little pigs, to boost your vocabulary, polish your grammar, and uncover some of Italy's quirkiest expressions. Fairy tales might seem like child's play, but they're one of the smartest ways to learn Italian. These stories are short, repetitive, and packed with relatable language that you can use in everyday conversations. Plus, since you already know the plot, you can focus entirely on the words and grammar. In this lesson, you'll discover how to use diminutives like porcellino to add personality to your Italian, see how phrases like è tempo che, it's time that, trigger the subjunctive mood in Italian storytelling, and everyday idioms inspired by this tale, like scappare a gambe levate, to run for your life, and see the interplay of different tenses, including the imperfetto, passato remoto, and futuro semplice, which are packed into this story. Now here's the question: why is the wolf always the villain in Italian fairy tales? And why do Italians describe someone as sneaky or dangerous using this iconic character? Stick around and you'll find out. And don't worry about taking notes, I've done all the hard work for you. To help you to practice everything you're about to learn here today, make sure you download your free PDF cheat sheet for this lesson, which includes the story transcript and all the grammar notes that you're about to learn today. Just click on the link in the description below this video. Pronti? Iniziamo! Let's get started! Now, the story of I Tre Porcellini. Now, this is the story of three charming little pigs with big dreams to build the perfect home, and one grumpy wolf who's determined to ruin their plans. Now, the pigs each build their own house in their own style, but when the wolf comes knocking, only one stands strong. Now, before we dive into the story, let's focus on some important words that will make it easier to follow along. The first one is
Porcellino.
Literally, little pig. This is the diminutive form of
Porcello.
piglet. In Italian, diminutives are super common, adding a playful, cute, or affectionate touch to words. In casual conversations with friends and family, you may hear porcellino being used to refer to someone who loves to eat a little too much. The next word we have is
Fratello.
brother. Now, Italian teenagers often use this word shortened to fra when referring to close male friends, similar to saying bro in English. The next word we have is
Lupo.
This means wolf, this sneaky villain of the story, just like in Cappuccetto Rosso, Little Red Riding Hood. The wolf is a classic symbol of danger in Italian culture. Parents often use the expression
Il lupo cattivo.
the bad wolf as a way to scare kids into behaving well. The word lupo also appears in popular Italian expressions like
Fame da lupi.
to be starving,
Tempo da lupi.
awful weather, and
In bocca al lupo.
literally into the wolf's mouth, a phrase used to wish someone good luck in Italian. The next term we have is
Paglia.
straw. Beyond its basic meaning, this is another word that appears in common expressions like
Avere la coda di paglia.
literally, to have a straw tail. This is used to describe someone who's guilty of hiding something but gets defensive when questioned. Or in the phrase,
Fuoco di paglia.
literally, straw fire, which refers to something that burned out quickly or fades fast, like a fleeting passion. The next word is
Legno.
wood,
Mattoni.
bricks. Now that you know some key terms, you're all set to follow along in the adventures of I Tre Porcellini, starting with Chapter 1. Take a look.
Capitolo 1. Un nuovo inizio per i tre porcellini. C'erano una volta tre fratelli porcellini che vivevano felici con la loro mamma. Un giorno la mamma disse loro: Cari figli, siete ormai grandi. È tempo che costruiate le vostre case e impariate a vivere da soli. Ma ricordate, dovete costruire case solide per proteggervi dal lupo cattivo. I tre porcellini Salutarono la mamma e partirono, ognuno con l'intenzione di costruire la propria casa.
Welcome to our first chapter analysis. Now, this opening chapter kicks things off with
C'erano una volta.
Once upon a time, the classic Italian fairy tale opener. It uses the imperfect tense, erano, for were, to set the scene in an undefined past, giving the story a dreamy, timeless feel. This phrase changes based on whether you're talking about a singular or a plural subject. We have
C'era una volta.
there was once for singular subjects, and
C'erano una volta.
there were once for plural subjects. Next, we see that the word loro appears twice in the sentences,
La loro mamma.
and,
La mamma disse loro.
but what does it mean? The first one is a possessive adjective, meaning there. Now, it's important to note that even though mamma is a singular family member, and putting a definite article before possessive adjectives for single family members is a mistake in Italian, loro is an exception and requires the article. So we say
La loro mamma.
their mum. The second loro is an indirect object pronoun, meaning to them. So in
La mamma disse loro.
it translates to the mum told them. Later in the chapter, the mum calls her kids
Cari figli.
dear children.
Cari.
Is a plural form of
Caro.
a common term of endearment in Italian. Now, to learn 69 cute terms of endearment in Italian, make sure you watch my video lesson right here. Now, she also says that they are now.
Grandi.
Now, while you might recognize this as meaning big, here it refers to being grown up or mature. The phrase that follows
È tempo che costruiate le vostre case e impariate a vivere da soli.
It's time that you build your houses and learn to live alone contains an interesting example of the subjunctive mood in action. In Italian, expressions like
È tempo che.
it's time that often trigger the subjunctive because they express opinions, desires, or needs. So in this case,
Costruiate.
you build and
Impariate.
you learn are in the subjunctive form to show the mum's advice or not so quite subtle wish for the kids to grow up. Now, in this chapter, we also come across the imperative mood used when giving commands or advice, as the mum does here. It's the verb
Ricordate.
remember, which is the second person plural form of
Ricordare.
to remember. Finally, it's interesting to note the tenses that shape the narrative. The chapter uses the imperfect, such as in the example,
C'erano una volta. Vivevano felici.
to establish the background in a vague, undetermined past, while the passato remoto in
Salutarono. Partirono.
is used for completed actions that move the plot forward. Now, to learn more about how and when to use the imperative mood in Italian, make sure you watch my video lesson right here. Are you enjoying this lesson? Don't let the learning stop here. Make sure you download your free PDF cheat sheet. It includes a transcript and all grammar notes. Just click on the link below this video. Are you ready for chapter 2? Take a look.
Capitolo 2. La casa di paglia. Il primo porcellino era il più pigro dei tre. Non voleva lavorare troppo, così decise di costruire una casa di paglia. In poco tempo la sua casa era pronta e il porcellino si mise a cantare e a ballare, felice di aver finito così in fretta.
La paglia è leggera e veloce da usare. Non ho bisogno di altro.
Disse, ma non sapeva che il lupo cattivo era nei paraggi e lo stava osservando.
In this chapter analysis, we're going to start with the first
Porcellino,
little pig that we meet. He is described as
pigro,
lazy. He decides to build his house with
paglia,
straw because it's
leggera,
light and
veloce.
quick. This sets the tone for his relaxed approach to life. This chapter also introduces some common Italian expressions that go beyond basic vocabulary. One is in the phrase,
Non ho bisogno di altro.
I don't need anything else, where
Avere bisogno di.
to need, followed by a noun, is a common way in Italian to talk about needing something. The other appears in the phrase,
Il lupo cattivo era nei paraggi.
the bad wolf was nearby, where
Essere nei paraggi.
to be nearby is a casual way of saying that something or someone is close. Now let's take a look at chapter 3.
Capitolo 3. La casa di legno. Il secondo porcellino era un po' più laborioso, ma non troppo. Decise di costruire la sua casa con legno. In 2 giorni aveva finito. Era più robusta di quella di paglia, ma non tanto solida. Anche lui si mise a cantare e a divertirsi.
Il legno è più resistente, ma non ho sprecato troppo tempo.
Pensò soddisfatto. Anche il secondo porcellino non si accorse che il lupo cattivo lo stava spiando.
In this chapter, we are introduced to the second Porcellino, little pig, who is
Laborioso.
hardworking and decides to build his house with
Legno.
wood to make it
Robusta.
robust. The adjective
Robusto.
can be used to describe both physical appearance, like a sturdy person or a robust person, and things that are resistant, as in the case with this house. Now, other useful words in this chapter include the adjectives
Solido.
solid and
Resistente.
resistant, both referring to the house's strength and resilience. An interesting point to note is that resistente comes from the present participle of the verb
Resistere.
to resist, so it always comes after the noun it describes. Now take a look at when the Porcellino proudly says,
Non ho sprecato troppo tempo.
I haven't wasted too much time.
Sprecare tempo.
Is a common Italian expression that means to waste time, something you'll hear a lot in everyday conversations where someone wants to point out that they've used their time efficiently or avoided wasting it on things that aren't important. Finally, let's look at
Spiando.
spying, which appears at the end of the chapter. What is this? This is the gerund form of
Spiare.
to spy, a verb mood that focuses on the action happening right now, adding a dash of suspense to the scene. Are you ready for chapter 4? Let's take a look.
Capitolo 4. La casa di mattoni. Il terzo porcellino, invece, era il più diligente e prudente. Sapeva che il lupo sarebbe venuto a cercarli. Così decise di costruire una casa solida fatta di mattoni. Lavorò giorno e notte, mescolando il cemento e posando i mattoni uno a uno. Alla fine la sua casa era forte e sicura.
Questa casa mi proteggerà da qualsiasi pericolo.
Disse soddisfatto, anche se era stanco. Si sentiva tranquillo.
Finally, we meet the third Porcellino, little pig, who's portrayed as
Diligente,
diligent and
prudente,
cautious. He makes a smart choice to build his house with
mattoni,
bricks, making it
forte,
strong and
sicura.
safe. Why? Because he knows that
Il lupo sarebbe venuto a cercarli.
the wolf would come looking for them. This possibility is clearly expressed in the past conditional with,
Sarebbe venuto.
which is used in Italian to talk about hypothetical situations or things that would happen under certain conditions. In this case, the Porcellino's cautious assumption that the wolf would eventually show up. Now, to learn more about how and when to use the conditional in Italian, make sure you watch my video lesson right here. Now, there are a couple of expressions that stand out in this chapter. First, we have
lavorare giorno e notte,
to work day and night, a common idiomatic phrase meaning to work non-stop to achieve a goal. The second phrase is
uno a uno,
one by one. This is used to describe things happening in order, step by step, just like the porcellino carefully lays each brick. Now, after building his house, the little pig,
si sentiva tranquillo,
he felt calm. Now, this is the imperfect form of the reflexive verb
sentirsi.
to feel, which is used to talk about ongoing states of being or feelings. Are you enjoying this lesson? Don't let the learning stop here. Make sure you download your free PDF cheat sheet for this lesson. It includes all the grammar notes and a transcript. Just click on the link in the description below this video. Let's jump in with chapter 5. Take a look.
Capitolo 5. Il lupo arriva. Un giorno il lupo cattivo si presentò davanti alla casa del primo porcellino. Bussò alla porta e disse con voce minacciosa: Porcellino, porcellino, fammi entrare, o soffierò e sbufferò, e la tua casa abbatterò. Il primo porcellino, spaventato, rispose:
No, non ti farò entrare, neanche se soffierai con tutta la tua forza.
Allora il lupo prese un grande respiro e soffiò con tutta la sua potenza. La casa di paglia volò via e il primo porcellino scappò a gambe levate verso la casa del secondo fratello.
This 5th chapter is packed with actions that move the plot forward once more, all of which are expressed using the passato remoto. For example,
Il lupo cattivo si presentò.
the bad wolf appeared, from the reflexive verb
Presentarsi.
to present oneself or show up. We also have
Bussò alla porta.
he knocked at the door, from
Bussare.
to knock, and
La casa di paglia volò via.
the straw house flew away, from
Volare via.
to fly away. We also learn that the wolf's voice is
Minacciosa.
threatening, setting the mood for the danger faced by the poor porcellino, who was described as
Spaventato.
scared, an adjective that captures his panicked reaction. Now, have you noticed the rhymes in the wolf's boastful declaration? Take a look.
Soffierò e sbufferò e la tua casa abbatterò.
I will blow and puff and knock your house down. This rhyme is achieved by using the endings in the Italian simple future tense.
Soffierò.
I will blow,
Sbufferò.
I will puff, and
Abbatterò.
I will knock down. The rhyme not only makes the wolf's threat more dramatic, but also shows the power of the future tense to express intention and determination. Now, to learn more about how and when to use the future tense in Italian, make sure you watch my lesson right here. So, what did the porcellino do when the wolf destroyed his house? He
Scappò a gambe levate.
ran away as fast as possible.
Scappare a gambe levate.
Now, this is a common Italian phrase meaning to run away quickly, usually due to fear or urgency. The word
Levate.
comes from
Levare.
to lift or raise. So the expression literally translates to with raised legs, giving a vivid picture of someone fleeing as fast as humanly possible. Are you ready for chapter 6? Let's jump in. Take a look.
Capitolo 6. Il lupo e la casa di legno. Il lupo, affamato, si diresse verso la casa del secondo porcellino. Bussò alla porta e disse: Porcellini, porcellini, fatemi entrare, o soffierò e sbufferò e la vostra casa abbatterò. I due porcellini, nascosti all'interno, risposero:
No, non ti faremo entrare, neanche se soffierai con tutta la tua forza.
Il lupo prese un respiro ancora più grande e soffiò con tutta la sua potenza. La casa di legno scricchiolò, tremò e infine crollò. I due porcellini, terrorizzati, corsero verso la casa del terzo fratello.
Now, in this chapter, the wolf is
Affamato.
hungry, an adjective that can be used in both a literal sense to mean physical hunger, as in this case, and a figurative sense to describe someone as avid or greedy. The wolf's threat maintains the same rhyme scheme from the previous chapter, only this time it's achieved using the endings of the passato remoto tense, including
Scricchiolò,
it creaked,
tremò,
it trembled, and
crollò.
it collapsed. These verbs bring a strong sense of sound, making the scene even more intense. In the end, the two little pigs,
Terrorizzati,
terrified,
corsero verso la casa del terzo fratello.
ran to their third brother's house.
Corsero,
May sound similar to cursory in English, but they actually mean different things. Corsero is the passato remoto form of the verb
correre,
to run, while cursory is the adjective describing something done quickly and without too much attention. Now, to learn more about how and when to use the passato remoto in Italian, make sure you watch my video lesson right here. And if you're enjoying this lesson, make sure you download your free PDF cheat sheet. Again, it includes a transcript and all grammar notes. Just click on the link below this video. Let's jump into chapter 7.
Capitolo 7. La casa di mattoni resiste. Il lupo, sempre più affamato, arrivò davanti alla casa di mattoni del terzo porcellino. Bussò alla porta e gridò: Porcellini, porcellini, fatemi entrare, o soffierò e sbufferò e la vostra casa abbatterò. Dall'interno i tre porcellini risposero con coraggio:
No, non ti faremo entrare. Questa casa è troppo forte per te.
Il lupo si arrabbiò e soffiò con tutta la sua forza, ma la casa di mattoni non si mosse di 1 millimetro. Provò ancora e ancora, ma il risultato fu lo stesso. Stremato, il lupo decise di cambiare strategia.
In this chapter, the house made of
Mattoni
bricks
non si mosse di 1 millimetro.
didn't move an inch. This is a casual way to say that something is rock solid, completely unshaken, no matter how tough things get. So what did the wolf do?
Provò ancora e ancora,
He tried again and again, where
ancora e ancora.
is a common way to emphasize repetition and persistence in Italian, even when things are pretty hopeless, like in this case. And at the end of the chapter, the wolf is
Stremato,
exhausted, which sounds similar to the English word stressed, but there's a subtle difference. Both words suggest feeling overwhelmed or drained, but stressed typically refers to mental or emotional strain, while stremato is a physical kind of exhaustion. Let's move on to chapter 8.
capitolo 8. Il lupo tenta un altro piano. Determinato a catturare i porcellini, il lupo notò il camino della casa. Pensò di scendere dal camino per entrare. Ma il terzo porcellino, che era molto furbo, aveva già previsto questa mossa. Mise una grande pentola d'acqua sul fuoco, facendola bollire. Quando il lupo scese dal camino, finì direttamente nella pentola d'acqua bollente. Con un urlo di dolore, saltò fuori dal camino e corse via nel bosco, giurando di non tornare mai più.
In this chapter, the wolf spots the
Camino.
chimney as a possible way to get into the brick house. However, the third Porcellino is
Furbo.
clever and
Aveva già previsto questa mossa.
he had already foreseen this move. The idiomatic expression
Prevedere una mossa.
literally means to foresee a move, like when you can tell what someone's about to do. And what's the clever pig's next move? He puts a
Pentola d'acqua sul fuoco.
pot of water on the fire, and the water starts
Bollire.
to boil. The verb bollire comes from bolla, bubble, referencing those little bubbles that pop up in the water as it heats up. But in everyday Italian, bollire isn't just for cooking. It can also mean you're so hot that you feel like you're boiling. Now, as in the expression,
Oggi si bolle.
today we're boiling, when the heat is just too much. Now, when the wolf
Scese dal camino.
came down the chimney and
Finì nella pentola d'acqua.
fell into the pot of water, he let out
Un urlo di dolore.
a painful scream. The word
Urlo.
scream means an intense scream, but you'll often see it in the idiomatic expression,
Da urlo.
which means something is fantastic, whether it's a killer new haircut or a dinner that's absolutely delicious. Let's move on to chapter 9. Take a look.
Capitolo 9. La lezione dei porcellini. I tre porcellini, finalmente al sicuro, abbracciarono il fratello maggiore e lo ringraziarono per aver costruito una casa così forte.
D'ora in poi lavoreremo tutti duramente e costruiremo case sicure come la tua.
Promisero i due porcellini più giovani. Da quel giorno vissero per sempre felici e contenti nella casa di mattoni, sapendo che il lupo cattivo non sarebbe più tornato.
Well, the three porcellini are finally
Al sicuro.
an expression that means that they're safe, away from any danger or tricky situations. The two youngest ones proudly
Promisero.
that
D'ora in poi.
they will work hard to build solid houses. The verb
Promisero.
is the passato remoto form of
Promettere.
to promise, while
D'ora in poi.
means from now on, and it's used as a classic expression to signal a fresh start or a promise for the future. The word
Ora.
usually refers to time, as in the question,
Che ora è?
what time is it? But in this context, it functions as an adverb, meaning now. The story ends with the three porcellini living
Per sempre felici e contenti.
happily ever after, a classic way to end many stories in Italian. Both
Felice.
and
Contento.
mean happy, but there's a subtle difference between them. Felice describes the kind of happiness that is more lasting and profound, while contento is more about being pleased with something specific. And why are the porcellini so happy? Because they know that
Il lupo cattivo non sarebbe più tornato.
the bad wolf would never return. This brings us to the use of the past conditional in
Sarebbe tornato.
he would have returned, which is useful for talking about something that could have happened but didn't. In this case, it shows that the wolf returning was something that could have happened but didn't. Now, what lessons can we learn from the story of I Tre Porcellini? At first glance, this is just a story about three brothers with different approaches to life and the consequences of their choices. But if we dig a little deeper, then we can see the symbols of the different stages of growing up, from carefree play to more thoughtful, responsible decisions of adulthood. The big lesson here is that hard work and dedication give you security and success, while laziness or lack of preparation can easily get you in trouble. And the wolf? Well, he's not just a big bad villain, he's actually a symbol of the challenges and problems that life throws our way. Sooner or later, they are going to show up, just like the wolf. And how we prepare for them is what matters most. Now, to continue your learning and to help you practice, make sure you download your free PDF cheat sheet for this lesson, which includes the story transcript and grammar notes. Just click on the link in the description box below this video. If you enjoyed this lesson, then you'll love Intrepid Italian, my series of online self-paced video courses that break down everything you need to know about Italian using my unique 80-20 method. More details in the description below. And if you enjoyed this lesson, make sure you brush up on all 15 tenses in Italian by watching my video lesson up here. And if you want to master Italian word order and sentence structure, make sure you watch this video lesson right here. In the meantime, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and turn on those notifications so you get an alert when I post more videos like this one. Until next time, un abbraccio. Ciao!